So Whatcom Conservation District, who are we? So we've been around since 1946, and we work with landowners and farmers to foster a healthy, sustainable relationship between people and the environment. And what does that mean? Our mission is to assist landowners with their conservation choices. And it looks differently for all the different landowners that we have in Whatcom County, and how you might fit into any of those. We're really focused on three main components, and that is healthy land, healthy water, and healthy people. We're a division of state government that gets federal, state, and local grants to do exactly this, to support landowners like you with protection of natural resources. So what does that mean? Healthy land. Healthy land is the foundation that grows our food, cleans our air and water, and provides habitat for our wildlife. We also support healthy water in a variety of different ways. And healthy water supports agriculture, salmon populations, shellfish harvesting, and abundant recreation, which we have all been enjoying over the past sunny days, I'm sure. And then our healthy people, the folks around you on this call, and we support through all of our district services, are the community that are deeply connected to their county and inspired to protect what they value most. So we, in a basic sense, are just inspiring stewardship, and we do that through a variety of different ways. One that you're experiencing today is our outreach and education program. Now, this site of all these people without social distancing seems odd right now in our current state, but this is what our speaker series typically looks like. On farm, we coordinate 4 big events every year. The Small Farm Expo is one of those. We have manure nutrient management trainings, we have our annual plant sale, and then we have our speaker series, which has a variety of topics from mud management to hoof health to drainage solutions, etc. Another big part of the work that we do is our farm planning services, and many of you that are on this call have I'm sure, enjoyed farm planning services through our wonderful farm planners, that one of them featured here. And we provide soil testing and can work with farms of all types to develop and install best management practices that protect the sustainable use of natural resources, while also achieving the goals of your land. And these are free, confidential services that we provide. Equipment rental. Just in 2018, I think we started our equipment share program. What you see here on your screen is our 2.5 cubic yard ground-driven manure spreader that we have on loan, and you're able to use it for $30 a use, and it can be towed by a truck, it can be towed by a four-wheeler, it can be towed by a driving lawnmower. If you need to get nutrients out on your pastures, this is a great opportunity for you to use this. We also have a poultry processing unit, and more of these types of rentals to help support farmers in Whatcom County. Financial incentives. So we have a variety of these. It'd be hard to talk about them in less than a minute, but we understand that getting the best out of your land is an expense, and for as much as we can, we want to provide opportunities for landowners to be the best stewards of their land by helping them with some of those barriers. So we have small farm grants up to $3,000 for riparian plantings or manure storage or fencing, or big projects like this heavy use area footing that this horse is on the right side of your screen. And then we also have the rebate program that I talked about at the beginning of the program, and that is $200 towards heavy use area footing or downspouts and underground outlets, so gutters and downspouts. And you're eligible for that program just by attending one of these workshops today. So like I said, give us your contact information, either in the chat box in Zoom, you can send us a Facebook direct message, or you can email us at smallfarmexpo@whatcomcd.org. Habitat and restoration, you've probably seen these blue tubes around the county. We offer voluntary and incentive-based programs that are ways to engage landowners, stewards of their land and water. So all those blue tubes are actually full of little plants. CREP property, the Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program, and that program pays landowners to establish buffers along creeks and rivers that are fish bearing with native trees and shrubs. Reach out to us to ask more. Then we have our science and research program, which supports sort of all of the district programs that provides collaborative information and tools and resources for landowners to ensure that the effectiveness of the best management practices that we're supporting. But what are we missing? As we look towards the future of farming in Whatcom County and for our kids and our grandkids to be farming here, we hope to support you as the Conservation District. And we're in the process of developing our next 5-year plan. So linked here on your screen at Whatcom CD /long range plan is a survey. And I hope that you take some time to fill this out or just send us an email and share your priorities. Are we working on the right subject matters? Is there something that we're missing? Please go to this link after we're done here today and share with us what you feel are the most important things for Whatcom Conservation District to prioritize. And now up next, the nuts and bolts of the programming today. I'm going to pass the screen over to Katie Penke, and I will be quiet from now on, but I'll help with the Q&A at the end of today, and I look forward to it.
Great, thank you so much, Annika, and thank everyone who's here. This is very exciting. First webinar presentation for the Whatcom Conservation District, and I'm excited to talk with you about the new Manure Link program that we're launching today. So my name's Katie Penke. I should introduce myself. I work for the Whatcom Conservation District as a small farm planner. So I work with anyone in the county who's managing livestock who's not a dairy. And as I travel the county and visit with landowners and talk with them during free and confidential site visits about what their goals are, it became evident that there are many livestock owners, equine property managers out there who are producing manure in excess of what they can apply to their own pastures. And folks were often asking us, do you know anyone who wants this? And at the same time, we were noticing from all of our colleagues, many of them, other conservation districts, that there are Manure Link, manure exchange programs. The graphic in the top left is actually from a Langley, BC program called Manure Link. They have a really wonderful website. And then conservation districts all throughout Washington State and our region had launched programs to help people who were looking for manure, fertilizer, and people who are looking to get rid of it. And so we figured that we would give it a try here in Whatcom County. So as of today, this page is now live on our website, and we've had a few clients go ahead and fill out profiles just as sort of a test, and we're hoping that after today, the map will become more populated and used. The website this web page is located on the Whatcom Conservation District website, and it is under the programs tab. You'll find at the top of our website page. And the program that we have invented here is something that we are doing as a public service. It's possible that you might find somebody selling composted manure, or you might find a free giveaway. We have not put any restrictions on that. And we also aren't putting any restrictions on the quality of the compost. So there's a lot of information on this page about how to evaluate the quality of compost. So I'm going to go on and show how to use the site if you're a manure seeker, how to use the site if you're a manure producer. And then talk about a few tools that we have, just go over some basic best management practices for manure storage, and the manure spreading advisory, what to do once you have this manure at your farm. Talk a little bit more about the manure spreader program, loan program, and then the rebate that Annika mentioned. So if you are a manure seeker, you go to the page on our website, and there's a very simple survey that you say that you're looking for manure, and you enter your name and email address, and that generates a link to the current map that you just saw on the previous page. And if you were to click on any of those links, a little description will pop up that will give you the contact information for the person who's offering the manure, and give you the details about what animal it comes from, how it's been composted, how long it's been sitting, and whether or not they have a loader available. And there'll also be an attachment of a photo, an image, hopefully, of the pile, so you can kind of see how it's stored and see what it's looking like. If you are a manure producer, the survey will be much more in depth, and it will ask questions that will help to populate the little listing, and will give you the option to upload a photo of your manure. And so the photo is huge. I would focus on including the bin and the access to the bin in the photo if you can, but also letting people see the quality of the product. And just a note on the location, that the address is part of the location, but it won't be shown in the map. The exact location of your site will be confidential on the map, and folks will need to actually reach out to you to get your contact information. Just a couple best management practices for manure storage. It's always a good time to take a moment and just kind of check in about where to locate piles. So the Whatcom County would like to see all manure piles located at least 100 feet from surface water and drinking water wells, or irrigation wells for that matter. And as you're looking around your own property, you want to try to choose the highest, driest ground for the storage. And also in this climate, it's really important to cover manure piles with a roof or a tarp during our rainy season. When a manure pile becomes completely saturated with water, it pushes out all the air, which is what the bacteria that do the composting feed on. And we end up with an anaerobic pile, which is kind of stopped composting. And there's also a lot more leaching of nutrients. So in order to maintain this fertilizer at its highest quality, it's really important to maintain a cover. Just a note here that as the Whatcom Conservation District, we provide free tarps to cover manure piles each winter. So October through April, if you need to cover a pile, you can reach out to us and we can provide a tarp. So if you find a listing, say it's right around the corner from you, and they have a loader and it's a perfect fit for what you're looking for, but it's fresh manure, it's not been aged, and you want to bring it to your site and age it yourself or compost it yourself, there's a lot of resources online. We have a list of resources on our website on the Manure Link page about composting. And these images here on the top left, you see what we call an aerated windrow. So there's a little blower inside that box and a perforated pipe running down through this pile, and the air is pushing oxygen into the pile, and usually within a few days, you're hitting the minimum temperature, 131 Fahrenheit, that you need to kill pathogens and weed seeds and begin the composting process. If you look to the right of that, you see a pile with a bunch of PVC pieces poked into it. So it's sort of a static way to increase the air that's getting into a pile. And then on the bottom right, there's a 4-bin system on a slab with a roof. And in the floor of that 4-bin system, there's actually an aeration pushing through those pipes and then through those loosely fitted slats to aerate the pile. So There's lots of different options for how to finalize compost, get it aerated and get it composting on your site, and we'd be happy to help with more technical assistance if you find a good manure source that needs composting. Once you have the manure on your site, if you don't have a spreader yourself, Annika already mentioned, but we do have a 2.5 cubic yard spreader that we loan, and you can find out more about that on our website. We trailer it to your site, and it can be pulled, it's ground driven, so it can be pulled with a truck or a lawnmower or ATV, and then filled with a few scoops from a tractor. We have a great resource on our website for when to spread. And so the manure spreading advisory on the Whatcom Conservation District website has a lot of information that involves a weather prediction. And so you can see here for this week, the effect of the dry weather has created green on the map for low risk for spreading. And if you click on your location on the map, a little box pops up that even further gives even more information, and also gives a link to a risk management form that you can fill out with specifics about your own site, to kind of document conditions when you are applying, and enter in information like your soil type and distance from surface water to make sure that your spreading is happening without any impact to the environment. On the left-hand side, there's usually a reminder of the setbacks from surface water for manure spreading at any given time of the year. And then finally, Annika mentioned that participating in this webinar makes you eligible for a $200 rebate to install gutters on a barn in order to keep water out of a heavy use area or away from a manure storage, or a $200 rebate for installing footing in a heavy use area to reduce mud where animals are confined. So if you're interested in either of those things, you can let us know your contact information, and we can send you more information about how to qualify. It was brief, but that pretty much concludes my introduction to the Manure Link program, and I wanted to open it up and see if there are any questions in the audience about how the program works, or any comments about ways that you see this serving our community, or ways that you would like to help us promote this new program. Thank you.
Okay, Katie, can you hear me? This is Annika.
Yeah, sounds great.
Awesome. So we just had a lot of folks that were just excited to hear more about it, but no specific questions. I just wanted to ask you if you could detail a little bit about the process of the manure spreader loan. If folks wanted to use that, how can you just talk about it in a little bit more detail, how it would be dropped off, picked up, etc.?
Sure thing. Thanks for asking. On our website, actually, under programs and resources for farmers, equipment, there is a calendar that lets you know when it is available, and also information, more details about this. But the manure spreader loan, basically, we trailer it to your home and unload it off the trailer, and we would bring it to your home on a Thursday, and you'll have access to it until the following Monday, or bring it on a Monday and you have it until the following Thursday. And, you know, we're still kind of in the process of reworking our protocol, considering the current public health situation about how we're going to go forward lending this out, and have paused loans in the immediate future, but hope to be able to relaunch that soon. So basically you get a weekend loan or a week loan. There's a $30 fee, which goes into a maintenance pool. And after you finished using it, it's important that you be able to clean it, ideally pressure washing, or we provide a brush if you just have a hose, so that you can clean it in order to kind of maintain a biosecurity and not be passing manure from one site to another, and just for general upkeep of the equipment. And then at the end of your loan period, so either a Monday if you had a weekend loan or a Thursday if you had a week loan, we come back out to the site and we'll load it on the trailer and haul it back to the office. So it's a really user-friendly program, and we look forward to getting the equipment back out in the community soon.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you, Katie. Let's see if there are any other questions from folks. Okay, come on there. I see a lot of people watching, but no one's asking any questions. It was just such a thorough conversation, Katie. That must have been it. Let's see. Going over to Facebook here. No specific questions at this time, but I would be curious if you could talk through, Kitty, you're one of our primary farm planners that goes out on site, and I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the common questions that you're getting from folks when you go out on site when it involves manure like this, and why you think that this program, the Manure Link, you were really the one that said we need this in Whatcom County. How can we make this happen?
Well, back in my own gardening days, I actually remember using the King Conservation District Manure Link in order to source manure for my own backyard when I was an urban dweller. And I remember thinking that it was kind of amazing that a program like that existed. And then fast forward many years, and now I'm on the other side, living in a rural environment and working with people who are managing manure. And it just is very, very common for a whole host of reasons why clients of mine would be asking me if I knew a way for them to get rid of their manure. One example that comes to mind is someone who's keeping horses on a really small site, so they don't have any fields for spreading the manure. They have great heavy use areas, and they're managing all their stormwater, and they're composting the manure, and they have all the best management practices in place, but nowhere to spread the manure. Or another example would be really large equine boarding facilities often have excess manure than what they can spread on their fields. And another example, which is a whole nother community that we're hoping to loop into this program, is the really large dairy community, both folks who are raising the replacement cows, so they're not milking, but they're accumulating a lot of manure, or dairies themselves who often have separated solids that they are looking to export. And so some of the photos that you saw were from local organic veggie growers who are importing the dairy solids to their sites and composting those with a little aeration in a windrow, and then using that to amend veggie gardens. And it's a really huge resource that we have here in this county, that there's so much active animal agriculture. And so the idea that that the conservation district could be a hub for sharing those nutrients around and not looking at them as large waste problems sitting on the landscape, but rather looking at them as resources that are scattered in the landscape. And we just need a tool to be able to connect people who need those resources with people who are providing them.
Awesome, Katie. Thank you. And since you started talking, now we have a whole slew of questions here. Okay, so I'll try to answer them one at a time. So is this available for use in Skagit County? I'm assuming you're talking about the manure spreader in this regard. And we work pretty closely with the Skagit Conservation District, and there is a great resource planner there. They have a lot of great farm planning services there as well. And as of right now, we're not actively renting it in Skagit County, but we're working with the Skagit Conservation District in order to have that as an option. And we hope that get a hold. Oh, okay, Karina's online and she'll help with that. Sure.
the manure spreader right now is just for Whatcom County, but Manure Link, we are going to work with Emmett and see if this is a program we can bring down to Skagit, because it's a map that's not restricted to just Whatcom. So being that we're so close, this is something that could be shared.
Great, thank you, Karina. And then we have some other questions here. Okay, how do I know how much manure to spread, and is there a best time to apply for my crops? And Katie alluded to that when she was talking about the manure spreading advisory that we have online as an interactive resource. Please, please, please check that out. It's linked directly on our Manure Link page, and that will help any landowner assess the proper timing, rate, and setbacks for their manure application. And again, that is one of the main reasons that we are really able to help out landowners by providing that sort of planning services for the future. Katie, do you want to add to that at all?
Yeah, I would love to. I think there's definitely no one size fits all answer to that question, but there are some sort of basic principles of pasture management, but the sort of depends are what type of field are you applying to? I think most common would be a perennial pasture, so grasses that are just sort of living for many years. The other question would be what's your soil type? Or do you have a sandy soil or a very heavy clay soil, or sort of a naturally rich in organic matter loamy soil? That's really important to know. The next question would be, have you ever applied there in the past, or what is kind of the organic matter level in your soil? So if you've never applied manure to a perennial pasture and you've been haying it or grazing it, it's probably safe to say that it needs nutrients, and an ideal time to apply is more or less right now. The spring is when we get the biggest surge in growth in our grass. There is also a little surge in growth in September, so sometimes a late summer application can be possible and advantageous, but if you want like a very safe bet with the least risk to the environmental situation, a spring application is a great one. But we really recommend what we call a nutrient management for pastures practice, which involves testing your soil. And this is something that we offer complimentary. We can come out to your site. It's a free and confidential visit, and we can help to use a soil probe and take a composite sample of the soil in your pasture, help you get it to a lab for testing. And that would give you some basic information about the organic matter content and the chemical content of your soil before you start applying. And then over the years, you can see how your application is affecting the soil chemistry and whether or not you're moving the needle in the right direction or not. As far as how much to apply, that's also sort of a depends, but it can be based very much so on a soil sample, or it can also be on a soil test results, or it can be based on your production goals, or the amount that you have available. Usually it's the case if you have a few acres of pasture that it's hard to get enough manure to make a significant application. The other level of detail that you could graduate to would be actually testing the chemistry of the manure that you're spreading so that you know the nutrient level that's going on to the pasture, and that can inform how much to spread. I don't want to scare anyone off by mentioning all these details. I think especially if you haven't been applying and you've been taking hay or you've been grazing, it's probably safe to say that you're under-nutriented right now, but just to know that there's lots of different layers that you can get into if you're interested in order to move forward with maximizing the productivity of your pasture. The soil test being a really basic and actually one of our requests of people who are borrowing the manure spreader is that you engage in a soil testing practice to monitor that chemistry in your soil. So thanks for the question.
Excellent. Thank you, Katie. And then we have one more question. Well, we have a couple more questions. Will the spreader and poultry equipment still be available during the stay-at-home order? And do you want to answer that one, Katie?
That is a great question. We have had the spreader out once as it began, and then we've paused the loans right now until we come up with an appropriate protocol, and we hope to have it back online soon.
Excellent.
And the poultry processing equipment is also currently on hold, but we're taking reservations for June right now, and there might be potential for opening it in May. We're just gonna have to see how it goes.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it, Karina, and I would say the same for the spreader. If anyone is interested in using it, going to our website, checking out the calendar, and then sending us an email with your schedule requests, or just to get yourself on a wait list, would be really ideal.
Agreed. Excellent. And then a question that we actually kind of fielded in our chat box, but we should share with others. We've benefited from the rebate program when we put gutters on our barn. Thank you for working through that rebate program. So that would have been the $200 towards gutters and downspouts or heavy use area footing. But this individual is asking, can we apply for it again as we need to add a heavy use area around the horse trough and entrance to our pasture? And unfortunately at this time, the rebate program is only one time redeemable so that we can ensure that it's available to other individuals, other farmers around the county. So at this time it is not, but once you stay with us and you never know as the years progress that it might be redeemable one more time. So thank you for that question.
I would love to jump in real quick and say that as a small farm planner at the Conservation District, if you reach out to us and go through our free and confidential small farm planning process, and we identify some projects that would have a positive impact on water quality and also improve your farms, such as a new heavy use area, that we also have a grant program that gives up to $3,000 per landowner. We've given away all of our funds for 2020, but we're starting a wait list for 2021 at this time. And so depending on the size of the heavy use area that you're looking at, it's possible that it might be eligible for funding through our small farm grant program in 2021.
Excellent. Okay, I think that we have fielded the majority of the questions here. So last chance for
I guess
further.
Waiting for last questions. One thing I just wanted to add is that this Manure Link pilot is really dependent on the community using the tool and sharing the tool. And so if any of you are part of a larger group that is related to managing animals, managing horses or livestock in Whatcom County, and you have a way to share this out to your community, that would be really helpful. Or just to reach out to us and partner with us on ways to get this more populated. So we're looking for feedback about this pilot, and we're looking for partners to get it really up and running in an active place.
Great, yes, thank you, Katie. I think that that's all the questions that we have for right now, and I just wanted to encourage folks to either put in the chat box below to all panelists your contact information if you're interested in follow-up any of the programs that we talked about today, but specifically to qualify for the rebate program, we'll need to know that you attended this webinar. Additionally, please visit our Small Farm Expo page and check out the upcoming events. And if this was really beneficial for you, please share it with your friends on social media to encourage others to attending. So all of our talks are at 10 a.m. every morning. So if you go to the Small Farm Expo webpage, as well as on the Facebook page, they're all at 10 a.m. That we have a next one tomorrow morning. I hope to see you there. Please share it as much as you can. And the links go up right before the event is going to happen. So you can sign into Zoom and make sure that you're attending. Additionally, I had put up a link earlier for our long range program. I highly suggest if folks are interested in sharing their priorities, and if this was of value to you, please go on to that whatcomcd.org/long range plan program or page, and you'll be able to fill out a survey. And that link is also on the chat as well as on our Facebook Live. So unless anybody has anything else, Katie, do you want to say anything else to the viewers, or are we just ready to close out today?
Yeah, thanks everybody for attending and sharing this experiment with us. Let us know how it worked for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much.